गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। आज हमारे साथ हैं कमांडर राम गुरुंग। कमांडर गुरुंग is an alumni of the National Defense Academy, 83rd course, India Squadron, and then Sir served with one of the toughest arms of the Navy, that's submarines. After that, he has been a consultant in the defense and aerospace industry with a very reputed brand, that's Grant Thornton. And then he took his experience of consulting and has started a practice in career consulting and career mentoring and coaching. So his areas of work, his focus areas of specialization are competency mapping, wherein he helps officers understand as to what industries and functional roles their competencies agree to or are more relevant to. He also helps them develop their network through LinkedIn optimization and offline networking, helps individuals with resume preparation, interview preparation, personalized coaching, salary negotiations, etc., and helps them with their career progression. So today we have invited him for this conversation as to how to try and understand what can be the pointers basis which you can develop a resume which helps you transition smoothly from uniform to corporate. Welcome to the talk, Ram sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vipul, for that warm introduction and invitation. And good evening to everyone. I can see around 58 of you.
Sir, so sir, मैं सबसे पहले आपसे एक बहुत जेनरिक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूँगा, just to kind of set the tone right. How can the transitioning veterans understand the corporate world better to enhance their possibilities of getting a job when they're doing the job search?
Okay. First of all, let me also say that I really appreciate Vipul and his team, who has actually started this particular platform to help all the transitioning veterans to make the smooth movement from here to there. I know, and each one of us knows that it's not an easy one, right? It may be simple, but it's not easy. So coming to your first question that, how do we actually understand the corporate world better when you're making a move from here to there? Now here, actually, I like to say that, first we need to have a inside out approach. Now, what do I mean by that? So basically means first step will be actually self-reflection, right? What is it that you want to do? What are your strength areas? What are your likes, dislikes, values? What is the direction that you want to go? So actually start from there, right? Because once you have selected a particular direction, then aligning with the corporate wherever you are going actually becomes easier. So that will be the first one, will I say, will be self-reflection. The second will be the industry exploration or research, industry research. What are the different kind of work or jobs that are available where your expertise can actually align? Because all of you, whether it's, it's a 10 years plus or 14 plus or even 20 plus or even the superannuity officers, right? So you all have a very specialized skill set. So knowing where actually that can fit is very, very important. And the third thing will be networking. Yes, connecting not only with your veterans, veterans who are in the corporate, but your own friends, college mates, because after 10 years or 20 years, you will understand, right, where they will be. So networking with them, networking with the families, relatives, anyone and everyone who could actually give you more input and inside information for any particular job or domain or function or industry. So I'll think if you keep these three things in mind, understanding the corporate culture or the corporate environment will be easier. Yeah, Vipul.
Sir, एक ना टेक्निकल सी चीज जो बड़ा लेसा है, but I don't know. We generally, at least I tend to do that. I use resume and CV very interchangeably. One of the same thing. At least that's what my understanding is. But since you specialize in this particular aspect, what exactly is the difference? अगर कोई है तो what is the difference between the two things?
Yeah, that's a very, very pertinent question. In fact, मेरे को भी नहीं पता था, right? To be very frank, I also used to think कि CV stroke resume, and in fact, lot of job openings you'll find send your CVs or send your resumes or send your CV stroke resume. It means whatever you understand, you please send whatever you have, right? But understanding the difference actually will help you. Okay. So talking in very simple terms, CV is, let's say, a record of all the tasks that you have done in entire career. अगर आपके पांच different tenures थे, different designations थे, different roles, responsibilities थे, तो whatever you have done, that is basically a record of that, and that is going to stay with you. Okay, and resume is the subset of a CV where you are picking up a points, respective points, which is aligned to one particular job opening. Let's say if it talks about an opening for director of operations, okay, or training and development manager, that means you are culling out informations related to this particular aspect from your CV. So basically, अगर आपका CV ready है, then making a resume actually is very, very easy, because you know, right? Resume हर एक job के लिए अलग बनाते हैं हम. So don't start making resume for each job different. First, make the CV where you put entire thing that you have done, and then cull out the information and make the resume aligned to a particular job which is open or which you want to apply. So that in terms is a very simple differentiation between these two.
Okay, sir, आपकी बात से जो मैं समझा, CV in terms of army officers would be the book which they can write about whatever they have done in their 10, 20, 30, 35 years of service. And then resume is the relevant chapters or the relevant extracts from that book, which can be kind of tailor-made or focused for the particular job they might be trying to approach.
Good analogy, Vipul. Yeah.
But sir, इसमें अब समस्या क्या आती है मेरे जैसे आदमी को? मैंने तो काम किया एज अ कंपनी कमांडर या बटालियन 2IC इन an infantry battalion or maybe. Now, how do I say, I mean, what is the functional equivalent of this in corporate terms? मैं उसको कैसे translate करूं कि अब ये मेरा फौजी experience, how do I make my resume, और CV तो चलिए मैंने एक पूरा बही खाता लिखा, उसमें से जो relevant बनाना है, that this is how this, how do I translate that fauji language into a language which corporates understand?
So see, the thing is, it is very, very important. The first thing is, resume is the first handshake that you do with the outside world, right? It could be an employer, a recruiter, whoever it may be. So that needs to be impressive and that needs to be remembered by the other person. जो हम first handshake करते हैं. So resume is the first handshake. Right? उसके पहले, and based on that only people will actually call you for interview. And having said that, that it means that it needs to capture the essence of whatever you have done in the language or in the terminology that the other person can understand. Right? As Vipul was saying, commanded a battalion or a unit, those things actually may be understood, may not be understood. But why take a chance? Right? For example, the ranks or the designations, the GSO1 or battery commander or base electrical officer or refit officer. Now, these may not be actually very easily understood or relatable to the person who is actually looking from the civilian world. उनको नहीं पता हो सकता. So instead of that, maybe training development manager, as I said, or director of operations or program manager or project manager or supply chain specialist. So first thing is taking out, reading a lot of job description, understanding what actually it means. Similar task को अलग नाम दिया गया है, right? So culling out those information, putting your experience, your designations, and your skill set in that particular fashion that the other person can understand. So that will basically, we can say, it will be language adaptation. आप जो कुछ बोलते हो उसको कैसे उसकी भाषा में लिखें. Okay, so that will be the first thing. And the second thing will be how do you emphasize the skills that you have, right? Because each one of us has got a varied skill set, whether in terms of hard skills, competencies हो सकती हैं, soft skills हो सकती हैं, right? So let's say instead of saying commanded my unit in a challenging situations, तो ये किया है काम. And it shows a lot of potential or expertise. But if we say that the same thing into, let's say, led cross-functional teams through complex challenges, fostering in a fostering a problem solving culture, so basically that shows little more output that the other person can understand and appreciate, because उनको नहीं पता कि commanded by unit मतलब क्या है. और अगर आपने कहीं लिखा है, let's say ensured compliances to the existing policies, as a IT officer or as a maintenance person. So instead of that, let's say if somebody writes, enforced or adhere to the established policies to increase in the overall readiness or compliance rates of the machineries or of the ecosystem. So that basically they'll be able to understand, right? So I think if somebody keeps these 2 points in mind, a lot of things will actually be solved.
सर एक दो और एग्जांपल्स अगर आप दे पाए relevant to I would say, let's say if there are 3 services, कुछ broadly Air Force, Army, Navy का जो how it can be translated, say an example each would kind of give some more clarity.
Okay. So first thing is, I go through a lot of resumes, and actually, to be very frank, it looks like if I'm reading a job description. Job description में जैसे क्या लिखा रहता है? Responsible for implementing policies and procedures, right? Conduct, let's say, identification, troubleshooting, and resolve any incident in the organization. और लिखा हो सकता है कि, let's say, responsible for completing the planned scheduled operations or maintenance, something like that. So basically, if we write these roles and responsibilities, it looks like if we have actually taken up from the job description. और उसमें यही रहता है, right? That is the expected KRAs or the expected roles and responsibilities for that particular position. But as a recruiter, as a person who is employing you, he needs you to solve some challenges, and that's why people are there. If they don't have any challenges, then they don't need people, right? As simple as that. So, and recruiters want to see the impact, tangible outcomes, tangible outcomes. कि ये बंदे ने, ठीक, everybody would have done, right? If somebody is, let's say, as a head of the organization or as a head of a team, then definitely if he's into, let's say, security domain, he would have done that security, adherence to security policies, interesting the compliances, वो सब तो किया होगा उसने. But what is it that he has done different? That needs to be brought out. So when I say this, that means it needs to focus on the outcome of your task, outcome of your action, right? Not just responsibilities, that I was responsible for this, I was responsible for that. Yes, definitely, because if you are sitting on a chair as a logistics manager or logistics officer, procurement is definitely your charter of duties, and you'll do that. Anybody would do that, A, B, C, D. But हमको क्या बताना है, if I was not there, then maybe this particular task would not have been done in the way that I did. And how can you do that? You can do only that if you show the tangible outcome. Now, for example, let's say I can say, if I have done some implementation of IT project, I can say managed IT implementation project. Right? Fair enough. मैंने काम किया, मैंने लिख दिया. But if I say, let's say, using the same example, streamlined project timelines, ensuring timely delivery of critical milestones, right? So it basically, first thing, it broadens the activity. Number 2, it also shows the impact. Impact यहाँ पर क्या है? Timely delivery of critical milestone. And third, it has also got some important keywords, जैसे milestones, right? ऊपर नहीं था. Right? Critical ऊपर नहीं था, right? So when we say, application tracking system, or even if somebody is looking at the resume, they want to see those keywords in your resume. So first thing is focus on outcome oriented, achievement oriented, not roles and responsibilities. Second thing, something, since I said tangible, that means we need to quantify the value, right? So I can say, for example, developed a diverse vendor base for procurement. ठीक है, if somebody was as a procurement manager or as a logistic officer in a base, he would have done this, and that is his part of the duties. उसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. But the thing is, if I go a step further, I can also say established, इसी word को लेके establish a robust and diverse vendor base fostering long-term relationship building. This is the impact. Long-term relationship building. Very good. But वो relationship building का क्या फायदा हुआ? Resulting in 10% or 5% or X% cost reduction in the procurement. Right. So here we are very, very particular. Outcome भी दिखा दिया, and we have also shown some tangible values. Right. And third thing will be showcase only those activities or action points which are relevant to this particular job that you're applying, right? Not everything, whatever you've done in the career. So that, the third point is also very, very important. Yeah, Vipul.
Okay, sir, मैं एक ना, although I am not an expert in the field, and that's why ये मेरा एक observation रहा है कि at times armed forces officers, because they do a lot of varied appointments of the tasks in their experience in service, so उनके resumes बहुत they're kind of everywhere types. जैसे without naming someone, I was having a conversation with the lady officer from the Navy. Now she was showcasing an experience of HR in Naval Headquarters, also showcasing an experience of operations while she was in a different kind of a role. So how, I mean, one would be, is it important for tailoring the resumes when I'm preparing my resume so that my chances or probability of landing a job, or rather to say specific functional role, increases? And if yes, then how to tailor that, sir?
Yeah, very, very relevant question, very important question. In fact, I think each one of us done that. मैंने भी ऐसे ही किया था पहले, right? Because when we do not know how to go about the right way, we do what actually is the best thing that we think is right for us, right? So I think this is very, very common, let's say, a challenge or a point that each one of us face when moving from this particular side to the other side, right? And that happens because, yes, Vipul rightly mentioned, because each one of us do different kind of tenure, catering to different kind of responsibilities. कभी training school में वहाँ का responsibilities, वहाँ के KRAs, वहाँ के task अलग हैं. Like if somebody is, let's say, in a particular posted in a unit, is different. If somebody is there in the headquarters, army headquarters, right, command headquarters, the rules is different, right? If I talk about Navy, ship में काम अलग है, base में अलग है, headquarters में अलग है, right? And so same goes for even the Air Force, right? So, and we would have done little bit of thing everywhere. So basically, when we make a resume like that, it will become, everything in that. So basically, resume is not one size fit for all. As we said, resume matlab one particular job aligned to that particular job. That's all, right? CV you can make, because CV stays with you only. CV कहीं नहीं जाती है. आप उसको 3 पेज बनाइए, 5 पेज बनाइए, 10 पेज बनाइए. Write as elaborate as possible, because that will help you to make more resumes aligned to different kind of jobs that you're looking for, right? So first thing is, if we make this kind of a generic resume, which Vipul was also mentioning. So first thing, it actually looks, it lacks the impact that you want to create on the mind of somebody who actually reads it. बड़ा generic लगता है, बोला इसने तो मतलब सब कुछ किया है, right? But if I am looking for a, let's say, training development manager, a supply chain manager, a facility management, a IT security audit, but these guys have actually written everything. So that means if you write about 5 different functional domain and one happens to be that, so just imagine, that means we are actually giving just 20% focus on the thing which needs your 100% result, right? Because it is just one part of it. जबकि वहां पर हमको ज्यादा वो चाहिए, maybe 70 to 80% of that. Right? So that means it needs to be aligned. So when we say it is aligned, first thing will be the keywords, right? Look out for the keywords that actually will help you to align your resume. Now, for example, अभी कैसे keywords हो सकते हैं? अगर somebody is looking for, let's say, HR, right? HR में हो सकता है performance management. It's a good keyword, right? HR policies, right? Onboarding, employee engagement, ये सब जो है HR, if somebody is looking for HR, that means all these keywords needs to be sprinkled, or all your activities should be oriented towards achieving the task that requires these keywords. अगर कोई सपोज IT में जा रहा है, IT सिक्योरिटी में, so maybe firewall, right, cyber security, cloud security, penetration testing, right, audits. Again, these are the keywords. So these keywords which are prevalent in the industry for that particular job needs to be there in the resume. तभी align हो पाएगा, right? Otherwise तो फिर generic बन जाएगा. Second will be highlight only those relevant experience, right? And जैसे भी हमने बोला कि do not write everything that you have done in your entire career of, let's say, 10 years or 20 years or 20 plus years. Write only those which are relevant so that it helps you to make that resume for that job. Training development manager ये है, facility manager ये है, operations manager ये है, security manager ये है, right? And third thing, how you can actually help to make a resume aligned to one thing is use of the cover letter, right? Because cover letter is one thing which actually gives you a little more freedom, where you can personalize, right? It is not just writing whatever you have written in the resume, uska ek summary bana ke cover letter mein. I see a lot of people actually doing that. That may not help, right? That means we are not optimally using the cover letter. उसका फिर मीनिंग चला जाता है अगर हम उसके फिर समरी कर रहे हैं, right? So that is the place where you can customize it. And what will you add there to make it customizable is understanding the particular challenges that particular company is looking out for in that particular position. And how do you understand that? How is it that your vision or your mission, right, is matching with the company's vision or mission? For example, अगर उसमें आप ऐसा लिखते हैं, that considering my so many decades of experience in so many skill sets, I can actually, come up in a place or come up in a role in this particular position, help you in expansion, let's say company expansion in southern region. And how did he come to know about this? ये जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं लिखा हुआ है कि ये कंपनी एक्सपेंड कर रही थी सदर्न रीजन में, कहां से पता चला उसको, right? Maybe he's following that company page, maybe he's following the news articles, maybe he has listened to CEO's speech. That means he's gone one step ahead and not only followed जो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में 10 लोगों ने लिखा वो नहीं लिखा उसने, वो तो है ही, right? So once somebody writes, that shows that yes, this person is actually involved, he is preparing, he's gone one step ahead. जो हमने जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिखा नहीं, उसको पता है कि कंपनी नेक्स्ट 3 years में एक्सपेंड कर रही है इस रीजन में, इस स्टेट में एक नया ब्रांच आ रहा है, and he is trying to fit in himself there and take the business forward. Right. So that's how actually makes your resume different from so many others who have also referred the same job description. आप ऐसे सोचो ना, अगर आप किसी वेटरन को भी देते हो, इवन इफ ही रिकमेंड्स, एक वेटरन एक कंपनी मान लीजिए, राइट, डू यू थिंक ही ओनली knows 1 or 2 people? He would have actually known more than 10 or 20, right? His own course mate, 1 course senior, 2 course junior, right? Last unit with same posting, so many people, and everybody would have actually given him the same kind of a resume. तो किसको भेजे? चलो 20 के 20 भी भेज देगा, then somebody actually will read through it, right? And if he or she finds कि इसमें से 10 तो एक ही जैसे दिखते हैं मुझे, so where is the customization? Where is the alignment? How is A better than B or B better than C? These are the points which you can actually keep in mind to make your resume stand out. मतलब अगर हम 2 फौजी के बीच में भी कंपेयर करें, राइट, सिमिलर एक्सपीरियंस, सिमिलर अपॉइंटमेंट्स, डेजिग्नेशन, टेन्योर्स, 20 साल, 10 साल, एक ट्रेनिंग एस्टेब्लिशमेंट, एक कंपनी, एक व्हाटएवर, राइट? सो इवन देन द रिज्यूमे दैट शुड कम आउट नीड्स टू बी डिफरेंट. अगर दोनों सेम हो गया तो मतलब how do people judge the difference between these two? So if you remember these 2-3 points, it will help basically to align your resume to that particular job opening which is open.
सर अब आपने बोला जैसे फौजियों के बीच में कंपेयर होगा, वो तो नॉर्मल है, होगा ही। अगर एक ऐसी पर्टिकुलर जॉब है जिसमें फौजी अप्लाई कर रहे हैं तो 10 फौजी रिज्यूमे आएंगे तो वो कंपैरिजन होगा। इसमें एक चीज और जो मैंने ऑब्जर्व करी है सर, आर्म फोर्सेज ऑफिसर्स हैव दोस 4-5 स्पेसिफिक सॉफ्ट स्किल्स जो ऑलमोस्ट हर कोई आजकल लिखता है और हाईलाइट करता है, और वो लास्ट में इट लुक्स लाइक मोर ऑफ अ very high adjective English, leadership skills and team management and project management. Is there a way that the soft skills can be better presented and emphasized on the resume?
Okay. Yes. In fact, I was listening to someone, I think it was, who was that person? Unacademy or Udemy ka CEO, and somebody was asking him also about something related with soft skills. Then I really like the word that that particular person used. He said, these are not soft skills. Okay. These are power skills. Because these are the skills that actually differentiate the two people who have got same level of competence. Because once we say soft skills, it looks like as if it is not very, very relevant. And even if you do not have it, it's okay, because things actually work on only hard skills. So, and that's why I like that word. He said soft skills should actually be called as power skills. Okay. And yes, a lot of resumes, what we generally do is we just list down the soft skills and we'll write some, 10 or 15 of them, as you mentioned, leadership, inspiration, motivation, people management, crisis management, adaptability, decision making, all those things, right? So writing is one part, right? So even if you do not write, generally it will be assumed that if a person has given 10 years of service or 15 years service, 20 years service, he or she will definitely have these skill sets. So merely listing out actually won't help, right? It will not help. So what do we do about it? So first thing is we need to connect these soft skills to some outcomes, as I said earlier, or let's say achievements. Instead of just listing it separately, that soft skills, उसके नीचे आपने 12 लगा दिए, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? So उसका कोई ज्यादा मीनिंग नहीं आएगा, because as I said, people will understand कि ये तो होना ही चाहिए अगर 10 साल किसी ने जॉब या सर्विस किया है, right? So for example, let's say if I say I ensured team motivation, okay, or team management, तो उसकी जगह पे if I write a line which actually shows that how I have used this team motivation or team inspiration in my role. अगर इसकी जगह मैं suppose लिखूं कि because of me, or I was instrumental in securing multiple commendations for my team members, right? तो उससे क्या हुआ? Showcasing that effective management and fostering a positive culture, okay, और positive work environment. तो मैंने सिर्फ ये नहीं लिखा कि मैंने टीम मैनेज किया है या मैंने उनको मोटिवेट किया है, किस तरीके से मोटिवेट किया है वो भी इसके अंदर आया है, राइट? सो मैंने मोटिवेट किया टीम को बाय गेटिंग कमेंडेशन फ्रॉम हायर अप्स. That means I have recommended these people that these people have done good in their job and they must be commended, and that actually ensured the positive or positive spirit or positive team culture. So soft skill ko similarly goes for the adaptability, leadership, crisis management. Don't write crisis management, write how your crisis management skill actually helped in one particular project or one particular action of yours. तब उसमें फिर दम आएगा, they'll be solid. It will be basically backed solid by examples, tangible results, and if somebody reads it, he'll understand, okay? Because it's just not a word or it's not just a phrase, it's the full complete thing. जैसे हमने hard skills के लिए दिया था या competences के लिए दिया था, where we showed कि if we have negotiated, this is what was the result. If I drafted some policy, this was the impact or this was the result. If I undertook some security audit, this is what actually I got. If I instituted some new preventive maintenance, or maintenance schedule. This is what actually happened. Earlier it was this, now it is here, right? In terms of the operational efficiency or reduction of incidents or accidents, whatever, right? So similarly, hard skills can also be quantified in terms of the implication or impact. I think, does that help, Vipul?
It does, sir. Soft skills go, instead of just writing them as labels, one can include a tangible example where that particular soft skill gets displayed, and that's how it comes across as a displayed quality.
Correct.
मैं सर एक आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ, और जब रिज्यूमेज में जनरली देखा है ऊपर कैप्शन करते हैं रिज्यूमे समरी या पेन पिक्चर या डिफरेंट तरह से, इसको कैसे और इम्पैक्टफुल बना सकते हैं? बिकॉज एट टाइम्स अगर स्क्रीनिंग एचआर के पास में पूरा रिज्यूमे पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं है और वो समरी से ही गेज कर रहा है कि शुड द पर्सन बी शॉर्टलिस्टेड और नॉट, then how do I make the summary impactful?
Okay, good. See, resume mein, where does the summary comes? It comes on the top, right? Just below your name and maybe email, LinkedIn, place, right? Phone number. After that, the summary comes. That means whoever is reading your resume will actually start from the top. And that's why that is the place where the first impression will be made. The way you have started and whatever you have written. And in case somebody feels from whatever you have written on the top that this particular person doesn't seem to be aligned, or he seems to be misfit for this particular job, then actually, one may not go through the pain of reading another 1.5 pages. Getting me? So if we understand that, then we will give more weightage or more time or more understanding on how do I write this summary. Because summary just does not mean कि अच्छा summary है and I've got, let's say, okay, only 10 or 12 lines, so let me pick up few lines from here, एक line यहाँ से, एक line यहाँ से, एक line यहाँ से, और एक last के 2 line करके कर दिया, and it becomes a summary because we feel that I have covered every point. मैंने हर एक जो टेन्योर्स थे हर एक पॉइंट कर दिया और 2 पॉइंट कर दिए प्लस एजुकेशन जोड़ दिया तो 12 लाइन कंप्लीट हो गया, right? So if we actually write that like that, it will not come out as an impressive, and you do not get second chance to make the first impression, isn't it? So you need to make that first impression in the first instance only. So how do we go about it? So first thing, since it is a summary, it needs to be concise. But when we say concise, it should have the required information. Who you are, what are the skill set that you carry, what may be your achievement in your career, especially aligned to the job that somebody is looking for. अगर procurement manager की job पे कोई जा रहा है, that means he should highlight something which is related with procurement, where he has got some tangible result, right? Whether he has handled 15 plus procurement agencies or he had drafted, 10 RFPs, okay, or done some negotiations, right? What is it that he has done, or done some inventory management, जो भी किया उससे related, okay? Not with respect to some HR or something. That is first thing. Okay? And second is, again, those important keywords that I said, वो आपके KRA में मिल जाएगा job description, what actually it entails, जिसके ऊपर ज्यादा primary focus है, वो वाले वहां पर आने चाहिए. वो देखते समझ आना चाहिए कि हाँ, okay, if you say for procurement, okay, he's done procurement, he knows how to draft contract, he knows how to follow stakeholders, stakeholder management है, negotiation है, contract management है, procurement है, right? All those things are there, वो है, right? So that means important keywords also needs to be there. Now, after that, something actually, again, coming back to something to differentiate you from so many other people, right? So let's say somebody writes skilled in project management. तो बहुत ही ठीक है, वो अच्छा है, but उसमें वो भारीपना नहीं आया. Getting me? So instead of that, if somebody says, let's say, exceptional project manager with a track record of leading cross-functional team or cross-functional department, in a dynamic environment, so that again is the same thing, but only thing, if somebody reads it, he will feel that this person has actually done a little more. First thing. Second, it also shows that yes, this person knows how do we actually project our capabilities or our competencies in the summary. मतलब उसने summary बहुत ज़्यादा देखी है, पढ़ी है, बनाई है, right? And that shows his preparedness for transition, right? He knows how to go about making things, right? अगर ये अपने लिए ये कर रहा है when he's making a transition, that means if we actually take him in our team, if he does not know something, he'll take one step ahead and find out himself, because that shows the attitude of that particular person by just reading about this. And third thing will be we need to capture the attention of the person who is actually reading it, right? अब जैसे उसमें ये हो सकता है I see a lot of people just write seeking a challenging role. भैया challenging role मतलब क्या हो गया? मतलब किस टाइप का challenge चाहिए आपको, right? And why is it that you want a challenging role? Why don't you want a easier role or something? तो ऐसा क्या मतलब क्या type का challenge चाहिए, right? Seeking a challenging role in any dynamic organization. All organizations are dynamic, and every day is a challenging situation. So what is it that you actually want, right? So uski jagah pe, if we make it a little elaborate, let's say I am eager to use my dynamic skill set in a managerial position, okay, or whatever that designation in this particular industry at this particular level to bring out the impactful results, something like that, right? So that means basically he knows where he wants to go, कौन सी industry में जाना है, कौन सा function उसके दिमाग में है, कैसा टाइप का रोल करना चाहता है, कौन से लेवल में जाना चाहता है, ठीक है, वो सब उसको पता चल जाता है if anybody just reads it, rather than just writing that okay, I am ready for some challenging role in a dynamic organization. If somebody reads this particular resume, जो भी पढ़ेगा उसको समझ नहीं आएगा कि ये कहाँ जाना चाहता है, right? So summary, though it is concise, but it needs to have these important information, and I'm sure you can still make it concise after putting these relevant information, right? Concise means chota nahi, it doesn't actually make any sense to just make chota but doesn't have that what do you call the relevancy. Okay, it needs to be short but it needs to be relevant. Okay, basically you can say जो आपका summary है ना, it's like your front door of the resume, right? So you have to make it inviting that people should actually enter into your resume, and they'll enter only if they find this summary inviting.
So this was very enlightening and relevant 40 minutes of your guidance, sir. I would put my question to rest. Thank you for your time and energy, and grateful for the insights, sir.